Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, race fans, sim fans, RC fans, Racing 393. So today is the eve of my weekend away, taking part in the national series rounds 1 and 2 of the LMP12 with the BRCA. So I'm pretty much done. I don't need to do a huge amount more. I'm literally going to just go over the car, as you can probably see there. All I need to do is, because I've got the old style bumper, it's the foam bumper. From what I've read, it's going to take a few whacks, isn't it? So that can sometimes break up. So what they, apart from getting the new honeycomb style of front bumper that goes underneath here, you can't see it, but it's sort of underneath there. That comes out. Well, it's included with the next variation of this, the Eclipse 5. I've forgotten. Yeah, Eclipse 5. Should know that, shouldn't I? So you can put that on the honeycomb. The honeycomb bumper just allows a bit more flex, I guess. But what I'm going to do, all I'm going to do is going to put some of this stuff on, just shoe goo. I mean, it's to glue shoes back together, but apparently it works well on this. And the only other thing I need to do is, there's a couple of screws on here which are metal to metal, so they screw into metal. I'm just going to put some of my weaker lock onto it. There's not many. I've done 4 on the back. The back wheels could do with being putting on. They've got aluminium bolts that screw into like an aluminium hub. I'm not sure what to do about that. Because I don't know how long. Might take the wheels on and off quite often. Fronts are like a nylon lock nut, aren't they? So they don't need anything, but the backs just sort of screw in. Yeah, don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see what I need to do on that. So there's not a huge amount to do. The battery's semi-charged. It will need charging up when I get there. I've got my charger. I've got my speed control box. It's got some leads in it. I wonder where my programmable box is for the speed controller. Not that I should need it because it's set to blinky mode. I'm hoping it's set to blinky mode. I've done all that. When it gets checked, I don't know how they check them or if they check them at the beginning. Do they do scrutineering? Don't know. No one said anything about that. But I'll find out, won't I? Yeah. So I've got a shed load of stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with it all. I'm trying to fit it in like a couple of bags, but I've got like an overnight bag to pack as well. And I'm hoping to head out tomorrow around about 6:30, just 6:15. Hour and a half to get there. Hoping the weather won't be too disastrous on the roads. Shouldn't be, but you never know. So I'm not going to film me doing all this. There's no point. I have read in between my last visit there actually and now that some of these cars run a cap pack which just plugs into your receiver as like a capacitor. So it must, that's a very small amount. It must store some form of electricity to stop any voltage drops, I guess. I think I've seen some of those on the cars when I was there on the practice day, the club event. I haven't got one. They do only just plug in. I wonder if anyone's got one there that I can buy. I don't know, to see if it makes any difference. It won't make the thing quicker, but it might be more consistent with the voltage across the usage of it. When you're doing the steering, if you've got a high voltage steering servo. I'm not sure if I have. I've got a Core RC. I don't know. Should it make that much difference? So anyway, I've got to charge things up that I'm going to use. The camera being one of them. Any lighting, phones, watch. This is all charged up, which I'm using. I couldn't figure out how to turn the camera on with it all off. You've got a power button for this. You can turn it off with the mode button, but I couldn't turn it on with the mode button, which is interesting. I don't know, unless I'm doing something obviously wrong. I'll have to look into it. Anyway, let me just sort the car out a little bit. I'm going to put some of this on the front and let it dry. The tyres have been treated with carpet stuff, but probably have to do a little bit more tomorrow when I'm there. So yeah, it starts. What's the time? So it's 11:10 on the 20th of January. It's sort of I was supposed to be working this morning, but I didn't sort of push to get anything booked in, so I got the day off, which helps. But I'm straight back at work on Monday, and that's after a sort of a Saturday and a Sunday away, and a sort of late-ish finish on a Sunday, and then coming back home and having to, you know, sort out and get ready for work for the next day. So swings and roundabouts, as they say. Anyway, let me crack on for a sec. So there we go. I've done that. I've done a couple of things. I put some lightweight, weak lock thread lock on the screws that are going into aluminium or into metal, if you like. Put some shoe goo on the front bumper. It's still drying, so it should hold that together, make it, at least it should last a little bit longer. It's not that much money to put another on there, but should I get any damage to that, I'll probably just replace that with the honeycomb version from the Eclipse 5. Some oil in the center damper. What was recommended. Not sure if I put enough in there, but it does dampen. It feels okay, so I've got that in there. Just oiled the front bearings a little bit, put a little tiny drop of oil in them. That's about it, really. There's nothing else much I can do. I've got everything I need. I'm gonna pack it all in a bag. I'm just hoping. The only thing I've got to take with me, or don't somehow get, I've got them somewhere, but it's just finding them, isn't it? And that's an extension lead and a 4-way extension. I've got an extension lead. I don't know if I can find. I've got loads of 4-ways. I'm just not sure where they are. I have to go and find them. Take that with me. I've got a high-vis vest to find. I've got 2 somewhere, but I don't know where. I think they're in my car. And that's about it. Everything's. Oh, I mean, I haven't turned any other wheels and tyres down, which is. Well, I've got a little bit too much meat on the rear. The fronts are okay. I think the front's not quite like super smooth. I'm gonna have to, I don't know, wear them out, or I've got wheels and tyres which I can take with me. And maybe there's someone there that can turn them down. I don't know. They'll obviously charge for that, won't they? But anyway, that's pretty much by the by. Haven't got soldering iron that I'm going to take with me, so I'm hoping my wires will sort of stay intact. I just want a bit of reliability. I want to go out, not get in anyone's way if I can help it, not hit anything hard, and just enjoy. This hat is super tight on my head. I've got such a big fat head, I don't know. I've got a pit light which only works on a 12 volt or a battery. 12 volt battery thing. It won't work on USB, so I can't take that pit light. I don't know if I'll need that, but I have got another light which I might take, which is charged. Yeah, so I'm pretty much done. I'll try and film. I'm going to film the trip. I'll try and do it as a whole day thing. I'll see what filming I can get done during the day. I can have a little wander around. So I've got my charger, tools, everything needed to run the car, hand controller. You know, in the day, if I've forgotten something and it's detrimental, I'm sure someone could lend it to me. But yeah, anyway, let me. Oh, the little off-topic thing. This does turn the camera on and off, changes the mode, starts and stops recording, and that's it. So it does exactly what it does by pushing the buttons on the camera. Very useful. So awesome. I think that's about it for now. The next, I'll catch you up when I'm in the car and I'm going to leave in the morning, bright and early. We'll see. We'll go from there. Okay, we're on our way. Can't do too much filming because I've got to have the light on. It's pitch black. It's about 6:30 in the morning. Sat-nav says about 5 to 8 arrival. Cold. Quite icy. Had to defrost the car. But we're out. We're done. We've got everything. Hopefully. I haven't forgotten anything, but whatever I've forgotten, oh well, doesn't matter. Yeah, quite looking forward to it. Don't know what to expect. Obviously a high level of competition. Not that that will affect me, clearly, but the amount of people that will be there and the sort of the competitive levels of those people be interesting to see nevertheless. 77 people booked in for the LMP12 alone. I think I'm sure there's 2 classes of stock and mod. So I'm stock, obviously, because that's the most common. But anyway, we'll crack on. I'll be back soon, as Arnie would say. I'll be back during some daylight hours as I arrive, unless something happens on the way that's interesting. But anyway, look forward to speaking to you soon. About, I don't know, half an hour away now. Can't get there before 8 o'clock, so you can't get in. Sat-nav says arrival 7:58. So it's currently 7:30 now. On the A21, about 18 miles. So yeah, it's been alright. It's been a clear run, to be honest. M25's been alright. A few dickheads, as you usually get on the roads. But yep, we'll be back in about half hour. Welcome to Robertsbridge, a historic village that is so historic they don't know how to make roads. I'm just going to drive along here. The potholes, you could, I don't know, you can get in them. I mean, like that, and that one. I mean, come on. Alright, it's a historic village and it's quite rural. I quite like it down this neck of the woods, on a serious note. And we're not a million miles from like Hastings, but I don't mind that. So yeah, this neck of the woods is kind of, hang on, yeah, I've dodged that one. I'm not sure about this next one though. Oh yeah, I'll be alright. But we've arrived anyway, so all in one piece, just before 8 o'clock. It's all good. Well, that's day one finished with. Fuck it. I've never done something so difficult in all my life. I don't even know where to start. I couldn't do any filming there. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time on your hands when you're not doing a lot sitting around. But I suppose most of my time is head scratching. Never before have I felt so out of depth. Especially on a subject that I would argue that I know a bit about. You know, I'm fairly confident on radio controlled stuff. Jesus Christ. I mean, I just don't know where to begin. I've met a load of people there, really helpful, but they're flipping out. There's something, I'm missing something here. There's a trick. There's something I'm missing. There's another chap who I was sitting with, and I met him at a previous Eastbourne meeting. His name's John. Now he's done more meetings than me, but not that many, and has probably had a little bit more experience in running a radio control car with others, I should say. He's done the BRCA National Championship previously at Eastbourne. This is my very first, in fact, this is my very first proper RC meeting. I used to be a member of the Aldershot Radio Control Car Club in Bagshot Lee, but I was pretty much sort of like 17, or maybe I was 18 then, 18, 19, 20. I was around that era, so I wasn't quite on point with what I was doing in life anyway, and I never really sort of took anything seriously when I was down there. I think I went down there on one Sunday and had a quick practice around in a Tamiya car that I had, but it wasn't anything significant, so I couldn't gauge how good or bad or others, or how bad I was or whatever. So this is the first time that I've been involved in a proper event, which you can see is properly run and everyone takes it super seriously. And oh my God, they are so quick. I'm sort of, all the advice that I've been given online is all relevant, but it means, although I do it, it means I'm not going to say it, jack all to me and how I'm doing it. I think one of the things that I've established, it's got to be something that's down to me, which is surprising. I normally pick things up relatively quickly. I wouldn't say that I'm a noob when it comes to RC, but this has absolutely blown my head. I don't even know where to begin. This is only day one. I've got day two tomorrow. All the stuff's left in the community hall. It stays there overnight. I'm sort of like, I want to put my eyes back in my sockets and try and fathom out what it is I've got to do. I think the majority of the problem is me, but I did find that my what was normally okay for running around on an airfield, my Fly Sky, is totally inadequate. And I've got to be honest, the correlation between what I'm inputting and what the car does is just not connected. It may as well be a runaway. I'm going to have to invest in a proper hand control, transmitter and receiver. They all use Sanwa. I did look around. Again, the model number's almost irrelevant to me. The most, I don't want to spend 500 or 450, 500 pound on a handset. Well, first off, it wasn't in blinky mode as I thought. Even the Schumacher guy had trouble getting it into blinky mode. It had the right firmware on there, on this electronic speed controller. It's only a Hobbywing 1S. There's the one that everyone had. Well, if you got them, everyone uses them. It went on there eventually. I don't know what he did. I think he just reset it, if I'm honest. And then, once it was put in blinky mode, I didn't have any brakes. The electronic speed controller had reset itself. But I hadn't changed anything on there other than the drag brake, which I know was at 15%. I think that came from YouTube. I put it back to 15%, hadn't changed anything, and on the bench it seemed to work, but out on the track, nothing. It's like I got no brakes. And then I heard someone, or two people say, you don't need brakes. Really? Because you can, I don't know, you could never drive that. I could never drive that with no brakes. I wouldn't know where to start. The steering input, you might as well not have it connected to the car. Sometimes it turns on a dime, other times it just goes straight on. And then, because you can't brake, when I would like to brake, it doesn't really drive around the corner very well. In fact, my best attempt at getting around that circuit is just taking a steady, not too much acceleration, and just following it around. But it's just so disconnected from the hand controller to my brain. You got to remember, there's people who've been doing it years. They make it look easy. They make a difficult task look easy, and I still think it looks difficult. And there's people out there, youngsters out there, so age doesn't really matter, whizzing round like it's on a Scalextric track. It's like those LMP cars are fixed to a rail. Again, it's probably to do with the setup of the car. I'm going to have to rethink this, I think. Of course, I'm just treating this event like practice laps. That's all I can do. So I was in the lowest heat. I think what I will do is, when I can upload it, I've got all the times here of my times, what I did in day one. I'll summarize that at the end of the video, what I started and what I ended up with, because I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow yet, as in time. Actually, I should say laps. Laps is more important than time. But I missed practice because my hand controller was flat. It inadvertently turned itself on when in transit, and it was flat, so I had to miss practice. And then it was qualifying, 4 qualifying heats, which was trying to get as many laps in 8 minutes, to be honest. Rubbish. I think the most I did was like 14 or something like that, when the rest were doing more like 28, 9. And that was in the lowest category. I was in the lowest category of people that have least experience or haven't done this before. There must be a lower category. Fucking idiots. I should be in that one. And then the next category up, there's only one above what I was in. They're fucking amazing. That's not even talking about those that are good, and I think they're all good. Do you know what I mean? I personally, you can see the difference between those that have been doing it 30 years and sort of the top tier in LMP stock, and then you got the tier that was above me, so they're sort of like, yeah, they're just better than you. I mean, they're just fucking miles better than me. There's something I'm missing. I know it's difficult, but I literally feel like I'm trying to control it left-handed and blindfold, and the left and right is the other way round. It may as well be. It's that far out. I've never been so woken up in. I mean, I could jump into most stock cars, karts, sims, and I'd be reasonably competitive within what I've got. You know, I wouldn't be the quickest, but you know, with practice I would, and it wouldn't take me long. Anything I've done in my life, I've even joined, I mean, this was going back a number of years. I actually joined a slot car club in Farnham. It was in the, I can't remember where it was now. I was in sort of some, I want to say the Fiery, but I don't think it was that. Anyway, I joined that. I even bought cars, and I got reasonably good. I won a heat in races in that. I actually bought a car, which I think I probably still got. It was a McLaren P1 or something, one of the McLaren GT cars back in the day. It wasn't a Scalextric car, but it was for Scalextrics. Other things I've done, like that, I haven't done any radio control model aircraft. I've done a boat, but I think what I'm trying to get at is the whole concept. It's a car, it's a track, you're racing, it's all about setup. It might as well just be fucking, I don't know, someone else's controller and mine's not connected. I'll tell you what it reminds me of, this little story. I can remember playing FIFA on the PlayStation. I can't remember which one it was. And we were playing 2-player, and I set it up on the options, 2-player, me and my brother. My brother's really good at it. He says, "You'd never beat me," and he was right. But so it was set up as so I thought it was 2-player. It actually was set up as 1-player. I didn't know this, and the AI was controlling my team, which I thought I was controlling. Yes, I was that bad. I didn't even realise that I wasn't connected to the game. My brother only said then, I can't keep up, I can't beat you, what's going on? And the reason was it wasn't actually me. So, a little story about what I'm trying to get at there is, I wouldn't even know. So I don't know where to start tomorrow. You know, the event will be finished by the time you get in. There'll be part 2 in the same video. Hopefully it won't be too long. So I'm lost now. There's lots of people there that help, and they're doing all their sort of things that all make sense. I just cannot get the car to sit on the track and go round where I want it to go round. Eyes wide open. I'll leave it there. I'm going to carry on tomorrow, which will be the next, just rolling on in this video. We'll go from there and we'll see how we go. You can see I'm itching my head. I'm itching my head with my hat. I don't think feedback's going to help. But anyway, I appreciate you all watching and stuff like this. And I will speak to you in a bit. Unfortunately, I had to come away during the second day, day 2. My cable broke on my receiver. The cable broke on the receiver. It's like a coax cable, and lost signal. So it works close up, but when the car goes just out of distance, you don't have control of the car. It's like a runaway, and I don't have a spare on me Fly Sky receiver. Ironically, I've got loads at home, and I mean like about 10. No one there had a spare one because it's an old system, or had a spare hand controller. So yeah, on my way home, I'll be honest, I enjoyed it a lot more than I realised I would. Everybody is super helpful. I'll go over my other experiences when I get home, and I'll do another video to finish. Well, I'll finish this video off with a sort of bit of a close-up of my car, show you what's happened, try and remember some of the stuff I was told. It's mind-bogglingly but very helpful. Everyone was helpful, I have to say. It's strange of how something at such high class, or something that's national level, people have travelled many miles to get there and have been racing these LMP cars in particular for many years, and yet someone as what I would call myself as a complete noob in that sort of competition, how helpful. I mean, it's overwhelmingly amount of advice. It's so much, but it's the little tidbits that you almost by the by, yeah. You want in your head, yeah, I'll do that, but you haven't done it. But when you do it, it's surprisingly how much difference it can make. I was in my final practice, I will go over it again, I did make very slight progress in technique. I was doing it all wrong the day before. Sometimes I was sitting there watching some of the guys go around, and there's a certain way to control these. It's not like you think, like a car, go and stop. Although they do that. But yeah, I'll go into a little bit more detail about that ending the video. But yeah, so everyone, thanks for everyone that's helped. But I'll be back shortly whilst I go over more of the details, show the picture of my car, what I found out, what my plans are, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a bit. Well, that's me home. Well, it was yesterday, this is the next day. I don't know where to start actually. This is it's sort of sunk in a little bit now, and the experience is kind of overwhelming from what, you know, this is the first RC event that I've competed in. And not only that, it's a national event, which is, I could sense that it was going to be way out of my league, way out. Even a normal club event would be kind of above my capability, but probably more copable, if that's a word. So let's give you some feedback. Well, I think first off, visually, as expected, the car got beaten about. It is, you know, I knew that. So you can see there, typically, you know, it's what happens, isn't it, when you're hitting things and it goes haywire. A lot of that's my doing. I did get hit a few times by other people who you know, it does happen, doesn't it? I felt some of those could have been avoided. Maybe they wanted to get me out of the way because I was annoying them, but I was already out of the way. There's my number I ended up with on the second day. I think I was number 9 on the first day. Tyres all chewed up. But yeah, typically what I would expect to happen. So what was I expecting? Well, I was, you know, I'll start off right off the bat. It's probably, apart from real world racing, what I used to do, and I'll come back to that in a minute, it's probably one of the first times of any event that I've been to where even though it wasn't, I wasn't successful, I couldn't wait to get back. For some reason, there was something. This goes back to my younger youth with my interest in RC. Just something there that I perhaps should have continued. I don't know. It's a very, very strange feeling. I went into karting at quite a young age, 14, and I kind of was in between. You know, I had RC cars back then, but kind of the real world karting bug bit. But in between my karting sort of time, once I got to when I could drive, so I started at 14 in karting, but once I passed my test when I was 17, down the road to me was a local RC track, which I say frequently went to. I can remember 3 occasions clearly in my head. I know I went more than that, but I didn't race there. Once I had a go at my car around there. I can't quite remember how I got to that, so I was never a member. I think it just must have just gone down there and not realising what was going on, and it was near the end of the day and they let me have a go of my own car around there. I think that's what happened. But I had been to watch meetings there, race meetings, organised events. But I was just in that kind of 18-year-old, what the hell's going on in my life? I'm a race car driver. I remember I never thought of that actually. That's stereotypical, isn't it? But I did karting and that was my pull. That's what I'm trying to say. So I never really focused on the RC point. But I still had RC cars all through my adulthood. I mean, it's only recently, I say probably about 5 years ago, which I got rid of my original RC stuff that I had. I just got rid of it because I wasn't doing it. The minute that sold, I regretted it. So that in itself tells you that my interest in RC is still high. Back onto the meeting. I'm sorry, this video is a bit narrative. I didn't get a chance to film any of the racing. I'll be honest, I was overwhelmed with what I had to do, even though there was a big gap between, you know, when I was out. And there was a lot of sitting around, but I found in my time sitting around, I was always trying to think of something that I hadn't done. Watching people, talking to people. I think I was a little bit overwhelmed with everything, so I just had to listen to everyone and pick out the bits that made sense to me that I could do, and go from there. So what an experience. And at national level, you can just see as the heats go up to sort of the top tier heats, the difference in calibre of driver. It's something you just have to see to be believed. It's what? And basically they've all got what is effectively similar equipment. So there's a lot more difference in the equipment than I realised. And the prep behind the scenes, when you watch what people are doing, very, very intricate. So it's a bit like if you just started karting and you go out and practice and you think, yeah, it's all right, it seems a bit, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know when to brake and all that kind of stuff. And then somebody in the pits comes up to you and says, what tyre pressures are you running? And you go, I don't know, I'm running 22 PSI. Oh no, you don't do that. You want them down at 8, or you want them down at 15 at least. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. You put it at 15, you go out, it'll be exactly the same. You think, I don't know. It's not until you find that sweet spot where you're consistent and you think, yeah, that's not too bad. But to go quicker, you're kind of reaching your kind of limits of ability and the prep side of it. So this is how I felt when I was racing. Well, I wouldn't exactly call it racing. Although, having said that, let me just say, it was quite relaxing, you know, the practice and the qualifying. When it gets to the final, and I didn't really, because the tannoy, the guy at the front there said, remember guys, it is an actual race. And then you started to think, well, the driving was different. I was out in the first day in that final, and I was kind of more, because you're not going to get told to get out of the way like they do in qualifying. You're only racing the clock in qualifying. I found myself trying to just move out of the way so I wasn't in the way, because they go around so quick. I found myself parked up most of the time, which I didn't feel that helped me, because I wasn't that quick. Now, in hindsight, I perhaps wouldn't have took part in the final. I'm going to be at the back anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I used the meeting as a practice session. What else can I do? I can't just go and use the car anywhere. And I suppose perhaps I should have got the car ready for the club meeting the week before. But you know, I want to give it a go. That's at the pinnacle of it. So I can see my benchmark. I've got a lot to learn, and I'm prepared to do that if I can. So without going into all the details, but to hit a few points, tyre preparation, absolute key. Well, if you look at my tyres, you can see there, it's like a mouse has got to them. That's obviously when it's been hit, or I've hit that's the side that would have hit a lot of the wall. So yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it? I think someone said to me, even the front tyres are knackered. I could well believe that. They wear a lot more than I was realising. But again, it's not going to make a lot of difference. Not a huge amount. I was just trying to get the car to drive around. So my main issue, there's three things. Firstly, me. I've not done it before. I was with another guy there who I know, I met him at the club meeting. He was there at this meeting, and he's quicker than me, but probably he's nowhere near as quick as the guys that he was racing either. So we was on the same wavelength, but he would lap me quite comfortably. So I had a lot of conversation with him, very helpful, very nice chap. And we sort of learnt a lot off each other. I mean, he knew quite a bit, but he knew more than I did. And there was a guy I was sat next to. He's from Cheshire, very well-known chap, runs CRC, can't remember his name, I'm rubbish with names. I say an older guy, he was older than me. Like the demographic of age there was quite surprisingly high, sort of well into the high 30s. Although there were some kids there, I think the average age was a lot higher, which was, again, interesting. But the guy sat next to me, CRC guy, he is respected throughout, everyone knew him. He was being very, very helpful. I mean, I could see his face when I was saying stuff, and he sort of chipped in with his opinion, which I totally went with. He knows what he's doing. And I've got to say to him, I don't know his name, sorry, I can't remember his name. So if you know who he was, then let me know. But yeah, very helpful chap, very, very helpful. So thank you very much for that, chappy, whatever your name is. Second one was my transmitter, FlySky GT3B or something. It's, you know, there's a problem when you can see latency. Oh my God. When you're going around on a runway, doesn't make any difference. You're not going to notice it. You've got all that space. And even then, that's not it. Some of my videos back on my running videos on other cars, you can see that the control, you lose control quite easily, but other cars do run more true. But in a bigger, wider space, who cares? But what I'm about to say is that the latency on my car, yeah, it was ridiculous. I could feel the car not responding or over responding compared to what I was doing. I've got a steering wheel type of controller and a FlySky receiver. Yeah, so latency was a big issue. And after chatting to a number of guys and another chap from Zen Racing, you get to understand the importance of having decent radio gear. In fact, apart from the fact of, I would say, as it's the only thing between you and your car, is that radio connection. It's the most important. So you need to afford or buy the best you can afford. They go right up, well, Sanwa's the way to go. I knew that. And a lot of them are using radio equipment in excess or up to around the 450, 500 or more mark. I'm not saying that would improve my driving yet, but it's certainly going to help with being consistent. So that's one thing. And the second thing, the reason I didn't compete in the racing on the second day is let me show you. I'm going to have to take the car, I'll take the car shell off just to show you. So I've gone over to the handheld position of my camera, so hopefully I'll keep it as still as possible. So there are a few people there, I counted one or two. There's not many people that run antennas, but the FlySky receiver requires the antenna sticking up. And you can see there it's got a little tube, protective tube. At the top there, it sticks out. Now there's a bit at the top, it's like a coax cable. There's a bit at the top here, which is a bit longer, and it sort of wrapped around about this long. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe an inch in total, maybe a little bit longer. But gone. Because if that's snapped off, it only works within a few meters from you. So as soon as it comes past you and goes off, it has a runaway, which is what it did. So unfortunately, no one had a FlySky receiver. I've got hundreds of them here. I say hundreds, that's an exaggeration. I've probably got about 10 here. I know I have. And I should have brought one with me because I could have changed it. But I didn't. I didn't think it would be a big issue. I had one of these on the top. The cables break on a car of my own here when I was on the runway. And it had a similar thing. But I just didn't think. So unfortunately, because I couldn't replace the aero of anything, I didn't have a spare aero, nor did anyone else, or a FlySky receiver that was compatible with my transmitter. I had to call it a day. But you know, it's probably a blessing in disguise in many ways, because the latency on that transmitter of mine for that sort of type of indoor carpet racing needs to be changed. So that's why I didn't compete. Now the other thing was, I did have my car is overweight. I've got a few things on there which I can change. There's not much, but a bit. 30 grams over. I've got an idea where I can reduce some of it. And also the speed controller wasn't in blinky mode. And I got a guy from Schumacher over to put it into blinky mode, and he struggled. He didn't understand it. It had the right firmware, it was all on, and he couldn't do it. Eventually he did. He reset it. In doing so, I didn't change anything within the controller that much, but I know I had the drag brake on, about 15%. Now, before blinky mode was put on, it had brakes. And I know people say you don't use brakes. I'll need them, trust me. But although I can come back to that comment in a minute. So, since putting it into blinky mode, I'll put the drag brake up to about 17%. Might want even more than that, but it still didn't have brakes. It just felt naff. I've tried some stuff on my transmitter, some settings. It's got like an ABS setting. I think it's got low, normal, or slow, normal, fast on the ABS. I tried it on all 3 settings while it was on the stand here, and I didn't realise the difference between it. I don't know if it has to be running to get it to work, but anyway, it definitely didn't have brakes like it did before blinky mode. So there might be another setting within the electronic speed controller which I changed inadvertently. I don't know. It's only got forward and brake anyway. I think I did go out of forward, brake and reverse. I forgot to change it, but I changed it back to forward and brake. But the brake was never really efficient, so I don't know why that was. There is a setting within this, I guess. Tyre preparation, like anything, is one thing I know for sure in all forms of motorsport, from full-size race cars to these. It's the only bit touching the tarmac, or carpet in this case. So it's got to be right. So the prep on the tyres is super important. And I must admit, after preparing it as people were telling me and making a bit more effort, it did notice a difference. I agree with that. So it's something I need to learn and do more of, is the prep of when you put in the compound on. I don't know whether you can see the tyres from here. You see how chewed up they are there. People say they won't work. Yeah, it probably won't work, but it's still got for me, you know, it's still enough there touching the carpet. The same as this side here, it's chipped on the ends. I'm not overly bothered. I will still probably use these tyres. I'll just probably skin them down the rear a little bit more. It looks worse than what it is. It does look rubbish, but maybe I can use it and just scurf some of this edge off a little bit and just skim it down a fraction more. I found the acceleration on this, when I sort of opened the throttle more, it did snap from side to side. It could be anything from toe in, toe out, not right now, because it took a few whacks. In fact, someone did point out it was toeing in, and I know it was pointing straight ahead when I set it up, but hey, it's you know, that's something I've got to sort out. It's not at the end of the world. I could have probably got away with 1 battery, I'll be honest. Someone did say 1, but most people have 2, but you get away with 1. What else? I put I'm using the old foam bumper, and I smeared that with like shoe goo, so it's sort of more solid. I do like the honeycomb bumper that the Schumacher do, so I might get that for next time. So that's about it really. My next planned carpet meeting I'd like to go back to Eastbourne again. I think they've got one somewhere around the 9th of Feb or somewhere around there. I think, was it late in Feb? And they got one more in March. I'd like to do both of them because that's going to probably be the last. Do they race all year round? I don't know. You can tell me that. But mainly once the summer months get here, you start going outdoor, which leads me on to my next project and update. So just to finish this video off, when I got back yesterday, what I went on to I went to Zen Racing and Model Sport, but I eventually settled on MB models. Forgot about them. I used to use them a lot. Purchased a Sanwa transmitter and receiver, and another body shell, but I will repair this one. I'll get that one done again. I've got another body shell, and what else I get? Some wiring. I'm going to redo my wiring on here. That something was bugging me anyway. So if you look, I knew that anyway. It's an abortion of an effort. I'm going to rewire the whole thing actually. Make this shorter. That one's okay, but redo these because they're quite thick, and they're not long enough. I might go this way around. It might make sense to go like that rather than round like that. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't want it to affect this. I knew that was wrong. I knew it was a mistake. So I got some wire. I'm going to redo that. Got another shell which I'll paint in very sort of. I won't do this colours there. I'm going to do a much simpler colour for now because I don't really want to smash another shell up. And underneath, I'm going to put some stuff here. I can't remember what it's called now, but a lot of people are putting the matting on here. and then they cover it with like shoe goo and just to strengthen it up a little bit. It is slightly damaged anyway. I will do that because I still think I'll use that shell for now until I get a little bit better, but I've got another shell on order. So that's the next bit. I'm hoping to get, well, that won't take too long to get here. And the plan is to use currently a new transmitter receiver, a repaired shell, which is this one. Probably same tyres for now. Just to the next meeting, or these next 2 carpet meetings. So then we lead myself on to outdoor. Now I don't have an outdoor race car that's suitable. What I'm planning to do is to get a touring car. I know they're expensive, but I have got my local track and auto shop, which is literally 5-10, well, that's an exaggeration. It'll probably take about 15 minutes to get there, let's be fair, but it's literally down the road. So I think I'll sort out a touring car. I've got an idea. I know they're definitely not cheap. You're talking about this much money again, what I got into this. So that's the plan. I've got a few other like normal sort of hobby, when I say hobby, Tamiya builds to do. Schumacher builds that are not race cars, they're just like kits that you would collect and use. So as far as future videos, there'll be other RC stuff. I think that's about it. I don't really want this to be too long, although it's going to be long because I've got the whole process of me getting there and talking and various things, one of them what I found out. But so I'll summarise. So first and foremost, thank you to everybody that helped me. You know who you are. There was tons of advice, setup tips, and these are from guys. You can see they were quick, so they knew what they were doing, and it's nice to hear, you know, recommendations from various different people which all point to the same thing. Very, very impressed with that. It's a very friendly atmosphere, very competitive and friendly, and completely, perhaps maybe at that level, it's not what I was expecting, certainly far beyond what I was expecting now. So I know going to a national event's not the best, the brightest idea you might have for a first time RCer, racing wise, but I'm glad I did it. And you know, if anyone was out there that does watch the video that thinks bloody he's all over the place, I was trying my best not to get in people's way. I was trying my best. I was so fixated on not driving into people. But anyway, it's all part of that learning, isn't it? Yeah, so onwards and upwards. So my YouTube channel, I've redone the titling on the Schumacher carpet racer videos. I've tried to keep them in sync with each other. There's a couple of short videos that I've done, which I don't know quite how they fit in if you want to see them, but I've tried to keep the wording and the formatting the same on the title. It's up to about part 17. I will continue with that process, but I think I'll probably use the sort of the racing and meeting parts, of which I've got 2, of when I visited Eastbourne and took part, and that'd be part 1, part 2. This one would be part 3. So I might just reword them to keep them separate, so they're probably easier to find. Didn't realise I'd done that many, and I did watch one of my early videos. I'm not saying these are good either, but yeah. Well, in the day, it's everything's a big learning curve, isn't it? Right, so according to my GoPro, I've been rabbiting for nearly half an hour, but I know it's going to be edited down a little bit. But thanks again, appreciate everybody. Please like, comment, subscribe, especially comment actually, because if anyone's got any ideas, information about what, I mean, I've had enough information to be fair, but just some feedback. That guy's name would help. And also the guy, I'm really sorry, I know his name, but I've gone blank. Who are you? The guy that spoke to me and said about the wiring, you come up to my desk. and you recognise me on that YouTuber, and I know I've spoken to you online. Is it Lewis? Sorry, I can't remember your name. I think it is Lewis. Put a comment, mate. Whoever, just so you bat it into my bloody head. But you know what you're talking about. You're a font of all knowledge. So thank you for your advice for that as well. Right, that's it. We're done until the next time. Another video soon when I get my new radio gear, but that'll be up and running once I got it. So thank you for watching. Appreciate everyone's time, support, and effort. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.